So Hoshin Engi, aka Soul Hunter, is one of these shows that it may not rank very high, but it's got a lot of spirit and charm to it, and I honestly enjoyed watching it. So Hoshin Engi is uh, loosely inspired on an ancient Chinese novel called Investiture of the Gods, and it's set very loosely in Chinese history as well, because that novel is loosely based on Chinese history, and then this is loosely based on that, so it's really all over the place. So basically, they lifted a lot of imagery from Taoist mythology, and they played fast and loose with it. Like, you've got these big machines with the hexagrams on them. There's that. I think there's a character that's an analog of Lao Tzu, and then they also have, like, the immortals here, where there's like a limited number of immortals, and then there's like spiritual beings that exist within that world, and they can travel between. And it's kind of interesting seeing their own creative interpretation of it all. The thing about Soul Hunter is that it's got a very weak introduction, in my opinion, and not only were things just not explained that well in the very beginning for me to have an understanding of the story that I was watching, and I just wasn't getting into it for maybe the first quarter of the anime. And I really felt like as I continued watching it, I just got more enthralled by it and honestly excited by some of the events that were going on. But with the introduction itself, it starts us off giving us a very brief intro to our hero, where he's charged with this task of heading down to Earth and sealing away the souls of the spiritual beings that have become corrupt and are ruining the world for everybody, all the humans. And the main one, the ringleader, is going to be Daki, who is this succubus who has enthralled the emperor with her seductive magic. And that's a big problem there, because it's starting all these wars and everything. So as I continued watching it and became more acquainted with the lore and the dynamic characters and everything, I just felt like it was just going straight up from there. And everything after the first few episodes just continuously get better. And I was enjoying it so much more than I expected. And there was a point where I was like halfway through the anime where I was just watching it episode after episode. I was really into this. And it's something that I think is going to be suited for a very specific audience. And I think this is the type of show, because it lacks a lot of the build up to certain things. Like, I wish there would be more build up to the universe and the history. I wish it would go more into the introduction of a lot of the side characters and their backgrounds and things like that. But I think there will be some people who watch this anime and they won't like it because they'll feel like the anime just tells me I'm supposed to care about these characters, but I don't. But for me, personally, I was just kind of watching it at face value, and I was along for the ride, and I really enjoyed myself. But the more I watched it, the more I felt like it was a decent adaptation of a pretty good manga. And I actually started reading the manga too, and my suspicions were totally correct, because I only read like the first volume and a half at this point, but it just fixes all of the problems that I had with the introduction of it. We have so much depth to the intro to our hero, and I can only imagine that the same level of complexity will be applied to a lot of the other characters that I felt were just hastily introduced within the story. Now, I can't say that for certain because I haven't read it. Of course, as I continue to read it, if I actually do complete it, I will make a separate video about that. However, I will say that on the anime's behalf, they take a lot of liberties with things. Like, it seems to me that there is a filler ending to the anime, but the way that they do it, they actually wrap it up really nicely, in my opinion, and I felt that it was appropriate for the type of story that was being told here and the way that it was condensed down within the, I think, 26 episodes that the anime is. And I really felt like even if you don't read the manga, you can probably still enjoy the anime. But I do want to recommend people, if you have any sort of enjoyment in the anime whatsoever, definitely check the manga out. Some of the other things that I really liked a bit about this, I liked the character designs. They're just so charming. The way that they draw the outfits and everything to them, just the way they look, I really like that. It's something special about the way that 90s characters in fantasy anime look. So my overall score for Soul Hunter is that I give it a 7 out of 10, which is probably going to surprise and maybe upset people because I know that I've got some friends who are big fans of Flame of Recca, and I gave that a 6.75. But if you were to compare what Flame of Recca does, it's so incomplete, and there are a lot of good qualities to it. But this, even though it is an incomplete adaptation, it is a complete anime, and you could watch this by itself in a bubble. It's enjoyable. It's got a weak introduction. It could do better in that regard. The way it introduces the characters, the animation could be better, but it is a 7. It is a charming experience, and I do recommend Soul Eater. But if you prefer to read manga over anime, go check out that manga, and maybe I'll get around to doing a manga review at some point. That's all for now. I'm not sure what I'll be reviewing next, and I will see you soon with another video. Have an awesome week.